What if I told you that Val Kilmer, the Top Gun star who once set the world ablaze with his charisma, has fallen prey to a sinister conspiracy, a ruthless betrayal orchestrated by none other than his own flesh and blood? It sounds like a tale ripped straight from the most gripping cinematic thrillers, but tragically, this is the real-life nightmare now engulfing the legendary Val Kilmer. Police have just reopened the case following a bombshell testimony from a neighbor, and what they uncovered beneath the basement of his Los Angeles mansion left everyone stunned. A secret box concealed behind a false wall, haunting new clues and suspicion pointing directly at Mark Kilmer, his own brother. This wasn't an accident, it's a meticulously crafted crime that's sending shockwaves through Hollywood. What drove Mark Kilmer to this? Was it greed, love, or perhaps a far more chilling secret buried deep within? Could Val Kilmer's ex-wife, still nursing the bitterness of a decades-old divorce, have conspired with Mark in a vicious plot for revenge? What lies inside that mysterious box tucked away in the basement? The answers might leave you speechless. Are you ready to dive into this truth? Join us on this journey, a quest for justice for Val Kilmer. Hollywood is reeling in shock and boundless grief over the sudden passing of cinematic icon Val Kilmer on April 1st, 2025. The news struck like a dagger to the heart of the global film community. The gifted actor who left an indelible mark in Top Gun, Batman Forever, and The Doors departed at the age of 65, with the official cause of death announced as complications from pneumonia. It felt like the story had reached its final act, a beloved star taken too soon after years of battling a merciless illness. But then an astonishing twist emerged. A delayed coroner's report, coupled with a stream of new witnesses and clues, compelled authorities to reopen the investigation. Most startling of all was the discovery of a sealed wooden box, tucked away in secrecy, brimming with documents, handwritten notes, and a USB drive loaded with audio recordings made by Val Kilmer in the days before his death. This find shattered every prior conclusion the police had drawn. And then, the unthinkable, a culprit was identified, a figure so close to Val Kilmer that no one could have imagined their involvement. Who is this person? What drove them to commit such a heartless act? What dark truths lie within that enigmatic wooden box, hidden in the basement? Join us as we embark on a journey to uncover the reality, a chilling path that leads from a death by illness to a meticulously crafted murder plot, masterminded by someone beyond suspicion. The investigation has been reopened, and the police are painstakingly flipping through every page of the case file, examining evidence collected at the scene, witness statements, forensic reports, and even the tiniest overlooked details. They're hunting for anomalies, unanswered questions, and clues that may have slipped through the cracks. After days of relentless digging, the FBI has officially named the prime suspect in this case, Mark Kilmer, the brother of the victim. Why did authorities zero in on Mark Kilmer so swiftly? The answer lies in startling revelations uncovered by the FBI just days earlier. The first piece of evidence surfaced from a neighbor's security camera. At the police station, Mark claimed he hadn't seen his younger brother Val for months before his death, even insisting he was vacationing in Hawaii when the tragedy struck. But the truth painted a starkly different picture. Suspicion arose when every single security camera in Val Kilmer's tightly monitored mansion mysteriously malfunctioned on the same day, with all footage erased as if it had never existed. The investigation seemed headed for a dead end until luck intervened. Police recovered footage from a neighbor's camera across the street, revealing that 5 days before Val's death, Mark Kilmer had visited the mansion. Not only was he there, but the brothers were caught in a heated argument, shouting, grappling, culminating in a chilling final frame, Mark on his knees, seemingly pleading with his sibling. Why would Mark lie? What transpired between the brothers to drive him to such desperation? Then came another oddity. During the scene examination, police noticed something peculiar. A vial of morphine, an eye-dilating medication, lay discarded at the foot of the bed. Initially, investigators theorized that Val, a terminal cancer patient, might have relied on it to dull excruciating pain, especially since the remaining quantity suggested recent, frequent use. But why was such a critical medication left rolling in a corner, coated in a thin layer of dust that hinted it had been there for some time? Had Val reached for it in his final moments, only to fall short? As officers scrutinized the scene, they spotted an irregularity. The leftover pills varied in size. Forensic analysis delivered a bombshell. The vial contained a lethal cocktail of warfarin, lorazepam, and a trace of morphine, a combination that could kill within 5 days. Neither warfarin nor lorazepam had been prescribed to Val by his doctors. Clearly, the medication had been deliberately tampered with. Given Val's reclusive state since his illness, limiting contact with outsiders, only someone close to him, someone who knew exactly where he stored his drugs, could have orchestrated this swap. Another unexpected breakthrough emerged from the mansion's basement, a cleverly concealed wooden box tucked behind a false wall. Inside lay financial records exposing a grim reality. Mark Kilmer was drowning in debt. Alongside those were documents tied to their late father's estate, revealing Mark's scheme to forge paperwork and sell off assets. The profits from those illicit sales had been funneled into a single account, later traced back to Mark himself. But the most jaw-dropping find was a USB drive packed with intimate photos of Mark and Joanne Whalley, Val Kilmer's ex-wife. Investigators began to entertain a chilling possibility. Val Kilmer's death might not have been an external act, but the result of a far more calculated plot, driven by greed, lust, or perhaps both. Piecing together these disturbing inconsistencies, the police have now locked their sights on Mark Kilmer, the victim's own brother, as the leading suspect. Determined to unearth the truth, the FBI launched a sprawling investigation with a singular focus, pinpointing the motive behind Mark's merciless act. The probe began with a forensic autopsy to determine whether the cause and timeline of death aligned with their hypothesis. The coroner's report revealed alarming details. Val's blood contained abnormally high levels of warfarin and benzodiazepines. His INR clotting factor had skyrocketed above 5, a perilous threshold for any patient. What baffled the experts most was the near absence of morphine, Val's primary painkiller, in his system. Lung hemorrhaging, initially attributed to routine pneumonia, was instead a side effect of an excessive warfarin dose. His brain showed mild swelling from prolonged respiratory failure, not external trauma. Time of death? 3 to 5 days after slipping into a deep coma. This wasn't a sudden demise but a meticulously engineered end, slow, silent, and cruel. The killer had exploited Val's illness to craft a death that mimicked cancer complications and pneumonia. Investigators soon uncovered a grim secret. Mark Kilmer was drowning in a sea of debt. Financial records laid bare a trail of unpaid taxes, overdue loans, and staggering losses from gambling and failed investments. In desperation, he'd secretly seized their late father's estate to sell off for cash. But Val wasn't one to be deceived. The Top Gun star had hired a private investigator and uncovered his brother's schemes. Tense confrontations ensued, culminating 5 days before Val's death when Mark arrived at his mansion, begging one last time, only to erupt into a fierce argument and physical scuffle, with Mark dropping to his knees in a plea captured on a neighbor's security footage. When his pleas failed, the beast of greed within Mark awakened. If he couldn't persuade Val, he'd eliminate him with the most ruthless method, a slow, orchestrated death. A financial audit of Mark completed the chilling picture. Money began moving weeks before Val's death was announced: quiet withdrawals, overseas transfers, payments to shell companies. Individually, the sums were modest enough to avoid scrutiny, but together they revealed a calculated buildup. Mark had opened accounts, filed legal paperwork, and initiated transactions to redirect assets, proving this was a scheme years in the making. The most grotesque detail? He'd forged a will claiming Val's entire estate, property, intellectual rights, and future brand earnings for himself. It was a flawless plan down to the smallest detail. With irrefutable evidence, the court delivered its final verdict: life in prison. Yet instead of remorse, Mark flashed a cold smirk, unrepentant, muttering under his breath that Val was to blame for not handing over everything. One question lingers: what role did Joanne Whalley, Val's ex-wife and Mark's lover, play? After exhaustive scrutiny, police found no direct evidence tying her to profits from Val's death. But could she have planted the seeds of this dark plot in Mark's mind, nudging him toward murder? That remains unresolved. Mark staunchly defended her in court, shouldering all blame alone. What do you think? Does Joanne Whalley truly stand innocent? Reflecting on this saga, a shiver runs down the spine at a brutal truth. Insatiable greed can transform our dearest loved ones into our deadliest foes. Val Kilmer didn't just succumb to illness or fate, he fell to betrayal from within his own family. His life stands as proof that fame and fortune, no matter how vast, can't shield us from the invisible daggers of those we trust most. This isn't merely a family tragedy, it's a stark warning to us all. Beware those around you, for sometimes the greatest danger lurks in the least suspected corners. Humanity's boundless greed inevitably exacts a painful toll. It's a lesson, a wake-up call for anyone listening. So what do you make of Val Kilmer's heartbreaking end? Val Kilmer spent a lifetime delivering unforgettable performances to the world. Yet his final role seems to be one he never signed up for. The victim of a heinous crime at the hands of his own brother. It's a truly sorrowful curtain call for the legend that was Val Kilmer. That brings us to the close of today's video. We want to extend our heartfelt thanks to you for consistently joining us and supporting our channel. It's because of viewers like you that our content keeps getting better. What are your thoughts on Mark Kilmer and Joanne? Could they have been partners in this dark crime? Please drop your opinions in the comments below. If this story gripped you, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with others.